Hey guys, it's Josh, and this is the Empowered People Podcast. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's the Empowered People Podcast, where each and every week we're going to tell, share, and listen to stories that are meant to motivate us to action, to motivate us to movement. We believe that so much success, opportunity, education only comes when you're willing to get up and move.
What's up, guys? It's your boy, Matt P., and you know what time it is. I'm here to tell you to like, share, follow, rate this podcast. I mean, most people, you're probably like, stop asking me to do this. Well, do it. Just do it, and we won't have any more problems. Maybe you can think of a more creative way for me to ask you guys to do it. In all seriousness, it does help us out a lot. It's the only way, besides us marketing ourselves, that we can actually get it to be seen by other people besides, our close friends and things like that. So go ahead, give us some ratings, leave us some comments, some nice things, and let's just get into it.
Yeah, no, guys, we absolutely love this. We're not going to stop. We don't do it for notoriety. We do it because we actually think that some of the things that we get to encounter, we get to see, we get to experience actually is beneficial. It's not just the ramblings of a crazy person. We get to experience some really cool stuff. And what we're doing here at Empowered Electric, dude, it is fun. We are changing the face of construction. And I know that's bold to say, but man, I believe it.
It's happening. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Andrea today gave me a thing that said, I think it was 48,000 hours is what we worked last year. That's remarkable. That is a ton of work that's done with passion and intent. We're not your typical electricians. We're not your typical construction workers that hate our jobs and that are negative. We're passionate about what we do. And it all started, guys. So if you haven't listened to the first 10 episodes, the first 10 stories are about my personal life. They're a lot about, dealing with pain and opposition and hardship and welfare and coaches and teachers and all sorts of things. Go back and listen to those. I don't think that I don't think that we are slaves of our past, but I definitely think we're shaped by our past, and you can let it crumble you and break you and make you a victim, or you can let it turn you into a freaking superhero and use those things as strengths and learning opportunities. The next 10 episodes were about professional development, right? It was about things like learning quality and standards and working at places, that are trying to utilize technology and trying to think through things like that. So if you're right now working, you're clocking in and clocking out, there's a lot of people that are saying like, don't work. I saw this stupid meme that was like, you can either build your dream or build someone else's. And I was just like, this is complete bullcrap. Like, building your dream could be helping build someone else's. Like you, Matt.
Yeah. So that's definitely what I'm trying to do, right? I'm trying to help push you forward. I'm trying to help push a lot of people forward, because that's where I want to go. Is maybe I want your job, right? So to do that, you've already set it in place. You're teaching me the things. I mean, I get a backstage pass really to what it's like to run a business every single day of my life, and yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, so don't think that because you're an employee, you're not impactful, that you don't have purpose. That's bullcrap. So go back and listen to the second 10 stories about building the skills, because it's all those kinds of things, the things that I learned at Hy-Vee, the thing I learned at Proline Painting, the thing I learned at Argus and DST and the electrical company I worked at, that enabled me to start Empowered Electric. But to start anything, you have to first kind of quit. You have to be willing to walk away from something. For some reason, I just thought of that story in the Bible where God tells Abraham to like leave and go to a land that he will show him. Like, how vague can you be? Like,
start walking,
bud. You'll know when you get there. But had I ever told you about kind of the way that I quit my previous company?
I think you've touched on it. We haven't talked too much about it, and I think we're going to dive into it a little bit more. So, tell me that story. Tell me how it all kind of transpired, I guess.
Well, it's so funny. If you haven't noticed, there's a little bit of, I would say calculated risk. Other people would probably say rashness on my part at some times. But I literally had gone out to lunch with the boss. It wasn't actually the owner of the company; it was like the president of the company, which was the owner's boss. Because it was honestly, if you weren't part of the family, your ceiling was kind of,
Limited.
where
Yeah.
And I went out to lunch with him, and we kind of talked, and it was funny to me how uninspiring it was. So what I realize now is like, being in his shoes. Sorry, something's wrong with my throat.
So wait, why'd you go to? Was it normal to go to lunch with him?
No, so he invited me to lunch. He's like, hey, I want to take you to lunch. And that's the world to me. I was like, oh my gosh, like what's easy? And like cast some vision for me? Is he going to talk about a promotion? Is he going to talk about like, areas that I can improve in or where the company's going? No, man, he just talked about like fishing and whatever. And maybe he would have said like it was to get to know me or something like that, but it was just one of the most uninspiring meetings meaning lunch, that I had gone to. And it kind of makes me reflect on, as when I am texting or grabbing coffee with or taking to lunch, the guys at work here, it's important for me to like get to know them, to spend time with them, but also like they're looking probably for me to inspire them, to cast vision for them. I think vision constantly leaks in a company, and you've constantly got to be reminding them like, hey, this is more than just a paycheck. This is something awesome that we're doing here. And I went to that lunch and came back and immediately just sat at my desk and got up and then went to my supervisor and was like, hey man, I'm putting my 2-week notice. And I know that sounds like me crying or whining or bitching or whatever, but it wasn't. So let me rewind, because I think every entrepreneurial journey kind of starts with two things, right? There's like a problem, and there's like a problem that you see, and then you want to try to solve it. And as I got promoted and as I moved into the office, I think I kind of came face to face with a lot of things that didn't match up. And so when we talk about like culture in a company and stuff, there were situations where I was pulled into meetings where we were talking about manpower. We're talking about people. So it's funny to say manpower, but really manpower, what is it? It's people.
Yeah.
And I remember I'm sitting in a meeting, and they're talking about, we were doing these multiple schools, and there was a foreman who was a phenomenal foreman. He was actually one of the guys I was an apprentice with. We went through the apprentice, and he was just phenomenal. I won't say his name. But he's running multiple schools, and one of the project managers says, well, are we paying him when he's driving from one school to the next? Because let's say he gets all the lights done in this one area in school A, and then he has to drive to school B because there's no more work at school A, go to school B, and then work. And he was complaining and saying that he shouldn't pay him to drive from school A to school B for 15 minutes or whatever it was. That it was wasting profit. It was wasting, it was hurting his job and all this, that, and the other.
Which is BS.
Which is complete BS. And I remember I go, hey, dude, we're talking about so-and-so. Like, he's amazing. What are you doing? And not to be graphic, but they literally said, well, it's just because you're a young punk bitch who doesn't know what he's talking about. Because I'm like standing up for this guy going, no, dude, like this guy's amazing. He's not stealing from the company. Like if he's driving from school A to school B, he probably needs to do that. It's important.
Yeah. And you're a smart dude. I think you know that whenever you're going to stand up for somebody, you're kind of putting your name on the line. You're kind of putting it all out there.
Yeah. And I mean, to this guy's credit, I was the youngest project manager in the room. There was a lot of things that I didn't experience. I didn't understand profit percentages and the way that the whole company worked out. I just knew that this person wasn't a thief. He wasn't a leech. He wasn't a vampire. He was amazing. And so in the ballsiest move probably of my career there, I literally call him up and put him on speakerphone. Like while they're talking, I call the dude and put him on speaker. And he answers, and I was like, hey, so-and-so. Hey, dude, it's Josh. Hey, I might be helping with this project. Hey, dude, when you're driving from school A to school B, how are you charging your time? Is it to school A or school B? And he goes, no, dude, anytime I have to do that, I always eat my lunch when I'm driving over to the next school, so I don't have to clock out for lunch, and I just keep working so that it doesn't charge any time to either job.
Boom.
And I was like, okay, cool, thanks, dude. Click. And it was just like, oh, I'm a young punk bitch who doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm seeing that, like, you say that you value people, but you kind of don't.
Right.
And I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but like, if I'm going to go down, I want to go down betting on people till I'm broke, because like, I just think it's worth the gamble. that there's great people out there that want to do a good job, that want to be loyal, that want to care, and I want to bet on them. And I want to be, I think there's that awesome picture where it shows, a boss is on a desk and, he's like pointing and he's having people pull them. We'll find this in the show notes because it's one of my favorite pictures of all time. And it says, this is a boss. And then the next picture it says, this is a leader. And that same guy is like in the front of the pack, pulling the desk with the guys going, rah.
Yeah, with everybody else.
Yeah. And so I got a glimpse of that like a lot of companies that say they care about people don't really. And I remember, I had alluded to, I don't have it. I should have it right now. The North Dakota coffee mug, that there was a story behind that. So we were running a project in North Dakota and the project was going bad. It was kind of universally known that it was struggling hardcore and they were trying to get people to go. And they pulled a kid into the meeting and they said, hey, we need you to go to North Dakota, for a month and this, that, and the other. And the guy said, hey man, I'm newly married. Sorry, something's wrong with my throat. It's this LaCroix, coconut LaCroix, proud sponsor of the Empowered People podcast. Soon to be.
Mango. Cranberry.
But so they pull this kid into the meeting and they say, hey, we need you to go to North Dakota for a month. And he says, man, I can't. Like, my family can't handle that. I have 2 young kids at home. I just can't. And they said, hey, we understand, no big deal. And I remember the guy walked out and one of the main guys said, lay that guy off. We're never going to be held hostage by some apprentice.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you're just going to say that to his face and then behind his back, cut him loose. And here's the thing. The company can do whatever it wants. So the company could have said, hey, I don't even know what the kid's name was, Alex. Hey, Alex, dude, we have to have you go there. If you don't, we don't have work for you here and we're going to have to lay you off. They can do that. They can make that decision. That's a hard decision. That's an ultimatum. But ultimately, it's honest and it validates his choice, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so that happens and I'm seeing this happen. And then one day it's a Thursday and they just say, hey, Friday, we got you a plane ticket. We got to fly you up to North Dakota. You're going to be there for a month, work 30 days straight, 12-hour days. Here's your plane ticket. And I was just like, whoa. And you've heard my stories, dude. I mean, I've gone to Hays, Kansas. I've gone to the University of Columbia. I'll go anywhere and everywhere. Like the company needs me, I'm there. But it just felt different. It felt like, do I have a choice? Do I have a say? Do I have value? Or am I just like a checkers piece on your board that I don't really matter? And if I said, hey man, my wife can't handle it, we have 3 kids at home, you would say, okay, cool, no big deal, and then I would get laid off? So I went to North Dakota and I bought that coffee mug and I remember just saying like, I'm not gonna live my life with someone else dictating what I get to do. Yeah. It wasn't at all, because you hear some people say like, well, I could just never have a boss. I love having a boss. Like, having a boss is the greatest thing in the world. Like, someone to teach you and lead you and inspire you. Like, I could have a boss for the rest of my life. I have no problem with that. In a lot of ways, I let the employees like help me see what I need to be doing to help empower them. Like,
right.
I'm not one of those guys. But do you care? Do I have value, or am I just a pawn? It really kind of just rubbed me the wrong way, really hardcore. And then seeing the way that they kind of, were treating people, that was kind of the wheels behind where I started to go, dude, can a company be ran that cared more about people and less about profit? Because all I'm seeing is profit and expense and value and hostage and, this numbers game, this very manpower, not man empowered. You know what I mean?
Kind of a staged deal, because they're telling people, they care about family, they care about you as a person, that everybody has a seat at the table or whatever, but really it's just straight profit. Numbers matter, people don't.
Well, and like that's the thing right now is I would say to every employee, and that's why if you find a great company, and there are great companies out there, it is amazing to be the number 101 at an amazing company that gives a crap. They exist. That's phenomenal. Go be a part of that. But right now, like telling your story and companies that care and stuff like that, it's just a selling point. For a lot of people, it's a selling point. And so I think I just got a glimpse of that. And so it got me wondering, could there be a company that cared. So anyways, that's the problem that I'm seeing, the inner turmoil. Because honestly, dude, I wanted to retire from there. I love that company.
Yeah.
I still love so many of the people there. They're phenomenal, best electricians in Kansas City, apart from Empowered Electric.
So you get back from North Dakota.
Well, so I get back from North Dakota, and I'm traveling a lot as it is. So once again, I don't have a problem traveling. As a project manager, I'm overseeing design build projects, and I'm literally traveling. I think I had a project in Georgia, in California, in Nevada, and then I don't know where this one was, but it was because I actually never had to go, but it was in the Northeast. I know, right? Stupid. Should have prepared that. This is ad lib or whatever it's called. But so I had no problem traveling and seeing these companies and staying weeks. But it was one time I was on my way to oversee a project, actually that Nathaniel was running. Nathaniel Bad Mama Jamma. He's a field director here at Empowered Electric now. Phenomenal guy, but I'm going down to his project and I'm in an airplane. I have my phone on airplane mode. And as you've heard in the first 10 stories, I'm kind of writing in a journal, and I'm like, God, I really want to tell my story, but I don't really want to tell it at a church. I want to tell it like to people like me, people with problems, people with past, people that have issues that need people to believe in them, like a juvie hall. I like write that in a moleskin. Black moleskin's got a rubber band around it, all that stuff. And the plane lands, I take my phone off airplane mode, and literally no joke, I get a text message that says, "Hey Josh, this is Kim. I know we haven't talked in years, but I'm volunteering at a juvenile detention center. I'm wondering if you'd come give an Easter message." And it was kind of like, looked at the text, look at my journal, text journal, like.
Well, why would she say something like that?
So we hadn't seen each other in a long time, but I think so. Kim is an amazing woman. That actually was super influential in my wife's life. I mean, she's one of those people. She was like a youth group leader. So she knew me. She knew like my past, and she's just one of the most kind, giving, caring people ever. And so she just reached out because I think she knew that I would resonate with those kids.
Yeah. I mean, had you spoke before in front of her? Have you like told stories like you do now? Are you just like, why would she just message you?
I think I think I did speak at church.
Yeah.
From time to time, you give your testimony, things like that. You tell the story about how you became a Christian, and things like that. But never like this. I didn't have a podcast. I didn't do big speaking events. I didn't go to high schools and speak in front of kids and stuff. But so I go, and I remember being terrified out of my mind, right? Like 80 of these little punk kids, it was like 40 dudes, 20 girls, like, and I'm not joking, dude. They're walking in, and you can see them like size me up, like, nah, man, like we're not listening to this white boy, like literally, I'm telling you, like it was.
But you were a big dude.
I mean,
doesn't matter,
dude. Doesn't matter, man. They could smell that fear, and I like go into the bathroom and I like splash water on my face, and I'm just like, dude, come on, like man up.
Throwing up mom's spaghetti in the toilet.
No, not like that. But it's funny. You're gonna laugh at this, man. But I read this book where it was like, before you speak, just look in the mirror and say, "I'm the man." And like, I resorted to that, dude. I mean, man. I'm like, come on. I'm just saying, like, but here was the thing is I was so nervous because I didn't want to go up there and just sugarcoat stuff. I didn't want to like dummy it down. I didn't want to like give scoops of vanilla ice cream. Like I wanted to like actually let them know like, hey, I know what it feels like. And so, just kind of off the top of my head, I start going, and when we're talking about hope and pain, and I remember like I feel like I remember when I said like, there's times in your life where it hurts too much to hope. I said those words, and I was talking about like whenever we kind of had got away from my abusive stepdad, and then we took the Greyhound bus back, and when we got off the Greyhound bus, he was there, and I just kind of had this sinking feeling like, this is the way life is always going to be. Yeah. And you just saw like 5 of the kids' heads pop up because they're ignoring me at the beginning, but little by little, they kind of start popping their heads up like, wait a second. And I talk about sleeping in a restroom, a rest stop restroom. And that when that's the safest place is a bathroom. And little by little, I catch all of their attention. I remember at the end, it was like, hey, is there any questions? And every hand shot shoots up. And their question is, hey, you're one of us and you broke the cycle. How?
Yeah.
It was just this light bulb moment of like, what people need isn't more advice per se. They need, so they do need advice, but there's this like really cool author named Tim Keller that says, You won't convince someone that something is true until deep down they hope that it's true. And I think the Empowered People podcast about sharing these kinds of stories is getting you to hope that change is possible, to hope that hope is real, to think that, can my past no longer dictate my future? Can it shape me, but can I not be a slave of it? You know, just that idea of like, okay, I went through some horrible stuff. I've had some crappy jobs. I've believed in people that have used me, manipulated me, you know, abused me. Can it be different? And I want to say the answer is yes. And to those kids, that was the truth, right?
Yeah.
And so I started volunteering there every single week. And as those kids get out, I'd stay in touch with them. So like, and there's a kid named Josh. I'm going to say his name because it's Josh and I'm Josh.
Easy to remember.
Yeah, easy to remember, right? And of course, I always meet him at Starbucks because I love coffee. And so I meet him there, and I think I've told this story where I'm talking to him and I'm saying, hey, Josh, and I got this out of, I think it was To Write Love on Our Arms, which is a great nonprofit. He would always say, what's your biggest fear? And I said, what's your biggest fear right now? And he said, dude, hands down, I got to get a job. And I was like, Josh, dude, you're 16 years old, you know, like, I thought you were going to say like girlfriend. And he goes, no, dude, you don't understand. Like my mom's job will not pay the bills. And like, we're about to get evicted from our trailer park home. And I have little sisters. I'll go back to selling drugs before I see my little sister get evicted again. And it was like literally at that moment that I'm dealing with this like problem of, can companies actually care? And then seeing this need of like employment opportunities for people that need help. And I don't mean like a halfway house. I don't mean like a rehab home or anything like that, but just like honest to goodness people that like need a chance. They need a break. They've had a rough go. People haven't believed in them. And it was like at that moment where I was like, every time someone had said to me, hey, Josh, you should start your own company, I thought high risk, high reward means, you know, high risk, you're going to lose your house. High reward, you're going to buy a lake house. Like, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And at that moment, it was like, wait a second. Entrepreneurship can be like high risk, high reward is like high impact.
Yeah.
Like high, like, you know, transformation in people's lives. Like what better way, you know, like every Instagram influencer right now that's like, yo, bro, I just want to like influence people and I just love to inspire. And they like say it while they're like, you know, looking at some blue ass water and like, you know, just hashtag.
Or like a total selfie of themselves.
It is. It's just a selfie of themselves. And they're like, I just like to inspire. I hope my awesome abs inspire you.
Check out my Yeezys.
Dude, yeah. But, you know, sorry, we're going down a dark rabbit trail right there. But, like, what better thing to do for someone than, like, employ them? Right. Teach them a skill. Because I go back to that whenever I'm sitting in that interview and he goes, hey, man, in 4 years, you can make $25 an hour if you're good. If you stick with it, if you go through school, if you become a journeyman electrician, your life will never be the same. That's what I heard. And I was like, wait a second. I can do that for other people. And so literally like this is all happening while like the boss takes me out to lunch, all that kind of stuff. And so when I quit, it's in my mind. I'm starting a company. I'm starting a for-profit company with a nonprofit heartbeat that's going to answer the question, what if a company cares more about people and less about profit?
So this all happens. You go to lunch and so what? You go to lunch with the idea that you're going to quit. You don't quit. Do you go take them a piece of paper, say, hey, I'm quitting and just dip out? Do you like, what do you do?
No, man. Like I said, dude, I loved the company. I know it sounds so rash. And it's so funny, man. But so two things real quick. Once again, if you do not see a problem in the world that you think you can fix, don't start a company. So what I mean by that is like everyone out there that's trying to start a company where they don't have a skill. I have the skill, right? I'm an electrician. I became a project manager. I understand how to read profit spreadsheets thanks to that meeting where I got yelled at. Like I've learned how to operate an electric company, and now I'm going, can I make one better?
Yeah.
I have a why, right? Simon Sinek's why. Like start with why. People want to use you because of why you're doing something more so than what you're doing. And like I had a compelling why. It wasn't going to be a nonprofit. It wasn't going to be a charity. It was going to be a company where I was going to hold people to a high standard and accountability. Because like caring more about people and less about profit isn't just about our employees. It's also about our customers, right? Because I'm not going to take advantage of them. If they want to add a plug right there because they didn't realize their furniture layout was going to like do that, like I can move that plug in 10 minutes, do that, and don't send them the bill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like care about people.
Yeah.
Don't treat them like a checkbook. So I had a compelling why. I had a compelling reason. But once again, it wasn't this negativity of like, I just don't want to have a boss. So no, so I go to lunch, I come back, and the head of operations was an awesome guy. Probably one of the reasons I quit was because of him a little bit, because like I had said, it was kind of a family-owned company. And if you kind of you weren't part of that family, you weren't going to be able to excel. Yeah. And like, he had the job that one day I desperately wanted. And he was a great guy, but like no electrical background or anything like that. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. So like hard work, a positive attitude and hard work ethic isn't going to get me exactly where I want to go. But so I go and I put in my 2-week notice with him. And literally, I work my butt off because now I'm on the time clock that I don't want to like abandon my foreman. I don't want to abandon the projects. I want them to go well. And literally the last day I worked there, I think I was there till about 7:00 at night, working with that director of operations, making sure that he had a full understanding of everything that I was going to do, or everything that was needed to be done, so that those projects and those foremen were taken care of. Because like, it's sexy to quit. It's sexy to start a company. It's easy to like wipe your hands and like walk away and go, not my problem, and it's like, but if you think that's how you can start a company, no way. Because a company, like, what does it really do? Like, what is the goal of a company? Like my son says, like, light bulbs go out and they need changed. People have problems that need fixed. Mm-hmm. And if you kind of have this mentality of like, not my problem anymore, well, whose problem is it? And like, why are you going to get paid? Because you're solving people's problems. So anyways, I think we should wrap it up there because like, dude, I'm so excited to start talking about Empowered Electric. I just needed to just say like really, really emphatically that you have to see the problem. And I did. And I thought I could do it better. And I know that sounds arrogant and maybe I fail. Maybe I don't do it better. Maybe there's a lot of things that I don't understand because I'm telling you, when you start a company and you think you sign up for that LLC and you think, what up, dude? $7, got a company name. That's very, very, very easy. Yeah. What lies ahead is really hard. Hiring people, finding customers, branding, coming up with a dang name, like all these kinds of things we're gonna talk about. But like, you've got to have a problem that you can solve, and you've got to have a strong why. And it doesn't have to be. Here's the thing: don't fake it. Don't say you care about Juvie Hall kids if you don't. Yeah. Like don't fake it. Like, people see through that. Like, don't take a selfie of your abs with some blue water and say, like, I just want to inspire you. You don't. You want likes. That's okay. Be like, check out my dope abs and this dope water. Like, you can do that. That's fine. So, anyways, guys, thanks a ton for listening each and every week. I hope that you listen to these stories and just get a little inspired, not because I have killer abs and not because I have crazy success, but because just like you, I come from some scattered, broken stories. I have a lot of like misplaced dreams and hopes and all this kind of stuff. I'm a jumbled mess, but I do have a great attitude. I am putting forth the effort, and I do think if you do those things, if you get moving, if you have a compelling why, guys, you have no idea what you can achieve. You'll never be LeBron, but maybe you can be MJ. Have a great week.